Welcome to another episode of Mastermind Bites. Hi, my name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also a best-selling author. And every single day, I help others unlock the potentials and guide them to succeed. Over the years, I have been very fortunate to meet some of the most amazing people in the world, some very, very successful people, millionaires, celebrities, and also some of the masters of their own skill sets. And I got to be in their presence, learn from them, hear their stories. And this series is really just for me to share back some of those stories and showcase how we can actually apply those learnings into our personal lives and our businesses so that we can succeed ourselves. And today I'm very, very happy to be able to feature Mr. Stedman Graham. Now, many of you may or may not know who Stedman Graham is, but he is a world-renowned author, speaker, and a businessman. He's very, very well known in the business world and also in the speaking world. He has big topics on like self-identity and self-awareness. And when you listen to him speak, man, he really talks right at you and just really showcases his knowledge and really, really helps dissect the issues and help you find your identity, help others find their identities so that they can also succeed. Now, most of you would actually know who his partner is, and that is Oprah Winfrey. And he's been with her for over 30 years now. And the thing is, it's one of those things that when he teaches about identity and self-awareness, that is something that he's really applied to himself, being a person who's been with somebody who's so powerful like Oprah Winfrey. And having that self-identity, having that self-awareness has also allowed him to succeed and carve his own path so that he's not only just known as that person with Oprah. One of his biggest messages to the entire world is always, always focus on love. Focus on what you can do so that you're not allowing the outside circumstances affect what you do, not let the outside circumstances prevent you from achieving the successes, achieving the goals that you've always wanted to set up for yourself. What he also really talks about a lot is we got to stop blaming what's going on in the world. We got to stop blaming circumstances or situations and blaming those circumstances so that we make ourselves feel better. We give ourselves a reason why we're not succeeding. We give ourselves a reason why we're not achieving those goals. And that is something that he self-realized himself, that it was because of him being so stuck on race, because of him so stuck on being a partner of Oprah, him being so stuck on the fact that he grew up with two special need brothers, that got him to the point where he had to stop taking all those things, all those circumstances that he really didn't have much of control of, and say that that is not what defines him. And he had to carve out his own identity. So he had to go and find out what can he actually control, what can he focus on, and how does he become a successful person himself, and stop blaming and stop letting the circumstances define who he is. Now, the thing is, we all want to become great leaders. We all want to be able to help others. However, in order to lead, we must first learn to lead ourselves. We must first learn to help ourselves first. Because if we can't lead ourselves, then we can't lead our families. If we can't lead our families, then definitely we can't lead the teams and other people who are following our lead. And that's because if we can't lead ourselves, that means we don't have the discipline to be able to lead ourselves. And we don't have the discipline to lead ourselves, then we don't have the discipline to lead other people and those people who are following us. And that is one really, really big concept that he actually shared with a lot of people. And during that conference that I was fortunate to meet him at, that one line meant so much. We have to be able to lead ourselves. And then he then goes on to say that the reason why there are so many people who are not able to achieve the goals and to become as successful as they wanted to be, and because why there's always blaming their circumstances, is because of our system, our society, our education, and that we're programmed to think that way. We go to school, we memorize, we do a test, and more likely than not, if you could probably relate, how long does it take before you forget all the stuff that you memorized for that test? Probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's only maybe a very small fraction that actually sticks with you. But that's how our education system is done. We go to school, we're learning the same things as everybody else. We're all put into this category. We're all putting into this one group of people, and we're being taught the same thing as everybody else to learn to think the same way as everybody else, to memorize and then go take the test. And therefore, we're programmed to do so. Then after we graduate, after we go past our schooling, we go find that job. And then we're programmed to work for our money. We're programmed to work for somebody else. And then the thing is, we go into this cycle. This cycle, we wake up in the morning, we do the same thing over and over again. We wake up in the morning, brush our teeth, eat our breakfast, go to work. After we go to work, we go back home. We spend some time with the family. We watch TV. We go back to sleep, and then we go and do that over and over and over again. Now, unfortunately, when we're put into that environment where everything is repetitive, the stuff that happens around us is the only thing that is going into our minds every single day. So if you're reading and watching the news all the time, when we're looking at what's going on in the economy all the time, we're listening and we're hearing all this information, which most likely than not is negative. Because the thing is, people like to talk about negative things. People like to announce and broadcast negative things. So that negative stuff, that negative energy starts becoming part of our subconscious mind. And when that negative energy and that subconscious mind becomes to grow more and more negative, the thing is, when we get so comfortable with negativity that if we're not feeling a little bit of negativity ourselves, we feel a little bit discomfortable. We're feeling a little bit off. And therefore, we're so uncomfortable with that lack of negativity, we start blaming things. And that cycle goes on and on again. So the question is, how do we break that cycle? And the thing is, when Stedman Graham illustrated this whole cycle to me and to us, I realized that is basically what's going on with the masses, that's going on with most people in the world. So how do we break that cycle? And it all starts off with each individual. We have to first, number one, realize that it is not how the world defines you, it's how you define yourself. You have to start realizing that you need to know who you are. You have to be able to identify who you are. Stedman Graham did not let it was after years later that he realized that he cannot let the fact that he had two disabled brothers or two special need brothers that defined who he is. He had to overcome that. He had to redefine who he is himself. He cannot let being the partner of Oprah define who he was and how the world sees him as. He can't let everybody else just call him Oprah's partner. He had to start identifying himself so that he understands who he truly is and just ignore all the other people's sayings and ignore what everybody else is saying. He also was very stuck on race, but he also realized that a lot of people of color was able to succeed a lot. So then he realized that it may or may not just be race. He had to be able to understand who he is and carve his own path and identify himself, not what anybody else says, not what categories people are putting him in, but who he is himself and where he's going to put himself in. The second thing is you need to start being self-aware. You need to be aware of your weaknesses. You have to be aware of your gifts, your talents, your passion. You have to be aware of what you're able or not able to do. And therefore, when you're put into that system of that cycle of repetitiveness, you're put into that system where you're being taught the same thing over and over again, you need to find a way to break that system. You have to find a way to disrupt that system by adding more information, adding more variety of information that you're putting into your mind. So for instance, when you're going to school and you're listening to all those different types of teachings, from biology to science to math and all that kind of stuff, you have to recognize what your weaknesses and what your strengths are, so you can identify which one of those topics actually is relevant to you, which one of those topics feeds your strengths, feeds your skill sets, feeds your passions. And when you can identify those and feed your own identities, skills, and talents, then you're able to then go out and find more information to feed that the normal education is not giving you. And when you're able to do that, and then when you recognize your weaknesses, when you recognize stuff that you may or may not know, or stuff that you're not very good at, and you start implementing some of that information and that knowledge into your mindset, into your resources, then you're able to start thinking like an individual. You're able to start accessing information more so because you're so aware of what's going on around you, not just what everybody else is saying, not just what the masses is talking about, not just what the news reports are talking about, so that you're able to feed in more and more information. And the more information that you feed yourself, the more you're aware you'll become, and that cycle goes on again, and you become more positive, you become more energetic, you become more active to go out and do more things, because you're breaking that normal cycle that everybody else is in. Now, the thing is, when you're able to think on your own, you're able to succeed on your own, you're able to build on your own, the third thing he says is you have to really be aware of who you are and where you came from. When you start letting that ego of success overcome you, when you start realizing or start believing that you're better than everybody else, then that's when you're going to start being in trouble. You have to still be able to be humble. You still have to be able to be that person who's able to help other people and focus on the self-awareness, so that you're not allowing that ego to overcome you. The moment that, like he says, the moment that success overcomes you, then you become something that you really don't want to be. So that's the third thing. Always, always be aware of where your ego is and keep that in track. And the fourth thing he mentioned was forgiveness is really for yourself. A lot of people believe that when you are forgiving and you forgive somebody for something, it's for that person. But it's not just one-sided. Forgiveness is for yourself. When you forgive other people, you yourself let it go. You yourself are able to move on and focus on something else, and become that person who's able to move on and achieve different things and focus on other more productive things if that's the case. So therefore, being able to forgive other people, yet realizing that forgiveness is really for yourself. So when you're feeling that you're really stuck on an issue, you're feeling that there's always been something between you and somebody else, or maybe it's time for you to just go up and bring it out, hash it out, and forgive them for whatever it was that they did that you kept on holding a grudge, because in the end, not only is it for them, but it's for you to move on and focus on other things. And the fifth thing is, we have to have big strength. The strong survive. The people who are able to have the capacity to face change, the people who have the capacity to face challenges, the people who are able to maneuver and adjust, just like water, are the ones who are able to succeed and move on and break that cycle that we talked about before. Because the thing is, if you're not able to accept change, if you're not able to have the capacity to face challenges and overcome them, face failures and overcome them, then you're not able to break that system. You're not able to break that cycle that everybody else is on. So therefore, the 5 things is, number one, don't let others define who you are. You have to be able to identify who you are and define yourself first. Number 2, being aware of everything that's around you, being aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, being aware of what you need to learn, being aware of how to apply certain things to increase your skill sets, and also make yourself a much stronger person, so that you can think on your own and break that cycle that everybody else is on. Number 3, when you are thinking, when you are succeeding, don't let that ego overcome you, so that you are still being that humble person who are out there to help other people, and realizing at a click of a button, at a snap of a finger, all your success could be gone at any moment. Therefore, you can't let that ego overcome you. Number 5, having that strength to be able to maneuver, to be able to have that capacity to overcome the challenges and also the changes in your life, in order for you to break those systems, break those cycles that everybody else is on. And I know I missed number 4. Number 4 is actually the forgiveness, being able to forgive, so that you could also let yourself move on to other things and put your focus on your success. And therefore, again, I want to reiterate something I said at the very beginning, which is one of the main main messages that he always has, and that is focus on what you can do and focus on love, because you cannot go wrong with that. So that is some of the things that I've learned from Stedman Graham. I was very fortunate to meet him a few times and really just take all that information and apply it and make myself a better person, and also spread this message to other people that I've met and now to you. And I hope you really enjoyed this segment. And if you enjoyed this one, please like, share, and comment, and follow some of my other shows and some of my other episodes on Mastermind Bites, like the Peak Potential Success Show, the Unlocking Your Mind, and also the Make More Mind Bites, and also some of these episodes. So please like, share, comment, and then until next time, today is the day to unlock your potential. We'll see you later.